Alright guys, we are into the round 3 of the Semi-Pro Cup Series. On Sunday we have Hot Hands Handwarmers against 7L. Don't know too much about 7L. Looking to see some exciting play out of them, as they were able to beat a decent South American team from what I saw. But as always, I will be joined with Nizcast to give you guys some insight into this game and this draft. But more than not, I'm excited for Cheech to hopefully go on to the next round. The opponents are starting to get tougher, and like I was saying in the chat, the other round 2 game that is finishing up, and there should be one more in addition to that, has the I'm a Sheep Sucks stack. And they're probably the favorite in the tournament, but there are a lot of really strong teams, so it's starting to narrow down, guys. And honestly, from the next round on, it's going to be nothing but like high quality, or I guess not high quality, but high skill, high experience relative to the competitive amateur North American scene, semi-pro scene. So I'm excited for it.
I'm also excited for it. Sorry about the rather lengthy wait there. Unfortunately, we just had to wait for some teams to finish their games to bring you some round 3 action here. Continually following Hot Hands. I don't know how, but even with that wait, I'm still kind of scrambling here. A little late to send out my tweet, but it is out, and we're into the draft. So hopefully the picks start coming quickly.
They are in Doom.
We haven't seen a Doom in a long time. So
no, Doom is a rarity, and I enjoy seeing him. Actually, I was watching the WCA rebroadcast earlier today, and we did see Fear play it on AG, playing it relatively well. We actually saw in that game too, our TZ and Fear went double Shivas in that game. Interesting. It was obviously a or I guess a thought out decision. You don't just randomly do that in the finals of a Chinese tournament, but interesting that we saw double Shivas in that game. They ended up winning it, so spoiler alert, I'm sorry guys. But on the other side, we do have 7L picking up the Skywrath Mage and Shadow Shaman, 2 relatively common support picks. Also very common in the first round in the amateur scene. Not as much in the professional scene. They are still very, I guess I would say uncommon, because there's a lot more variety depending on which team you're looking at. But here in SCS, I don't think there's been a game where we haven't seen Skywrath Mage. Like,
yeah,
to be honest with you, that no one bans it, but everyone picks it. So
5 seconds.
Yeah, it's really one of those just
we got to get stats on
this that just comes out every single game, and a lot of players and a lot of pros just think it's just overpowered. It's too good at what it does. And you know, it's taken a while for Skywrath to kind of climb the ranks and get to this point. There was a point where he was getting seen a lot more, and then he kind of fell off a little bit. But now he's back, and he's definitely the most contested support, I think. Shadow Shaman's one that kind of gives him a run for his money, but yeah. I think in general teams like to pick the Skywrath first.
Yeah, no, I agree. Razor is a good response, though, to both of those supports. Specifically, I like Razor a lot against heroes like Shadow Shaman. The buff to his passive Unstable Current makes it incredibly strong. The Purge lasts up to 1.4 seconds, does up to 180 damage, or 200? No, 130, sorry. A little bit over there, and lasts up to 2 seconds. But yeah, it's a very strong against heroes like Shadow Shaman. It does work well against the Arcane Bolt. You can't really spam it against a Razor, which is nice. But it will not affect his other spells, such as the Concussive Shot and Mystic Flare will affect his Arcane Seal, or Ancient Seal, sorry. We also saw Centaur banned out by Hot Hands here in the beginning of the second ban phase. But the one thing I really wanted to say before I kick it off to you was in the like North American semi-pro scene, like I really want to go back and start like pulling up some stats, because we do see Skywrath every single game, but I don't honestly know what his win rate is, and I feel like it's probably closer to 50 than anything else. Like most heroes tend to be over a period of time, because the game's relatively balanced, let's be honest. But yeah, we see him enough that I'd really like to go back and get some stats on that. So next time, guys, for you, I'm going to be bringing you stats on the tournaments that we've been watching on this.
Damn, that commitment right there.
I know, right here on stream during the draft. You guys have to like...
Committed.
I know, right? Internet Flame, be ready. No, we will get that done. But yeah, so the rest of the bans will be the Mirana, and then on the dire side, 7L will be banning out that Invoker, as well as the Clinks. And Clinks last game, if they were watching or had any idea of what Burger was doing on that Clinks, it's definitely a smart decision. And Clinks rips apart heroes like Skywrath Mage and Shadow Shaman with low armor, low base strength, and strength gain.
I speak for the tree.
And well, if you're gonna pick a Prophet, makes sense that you're gonna pick 2 Invis gankers, right? Makes complete sense. And Vengeful Spirit is gonna be the counter pick here. I like that a lot, especially because of Howl. There's a lot of times where you're trying to gank a Prophet and you don't have too many spells that give vision. Obviously, they have the Plasma Field, but Howl is a short cooldown, guaranteed, gives you bonus armor or damage to for physical, as well as that just free 70 damage, which is about half an urn. But it's really nice. And Swap, you can never undervalue Swap, especially against a Shadow Shaman who wants to sit there in shackles, or somebody gets stunned and Mystic Flared. VS can swap and tank the Mystic Flare if necessary. Lots of utility in that hero. Always been a big fan of her.
Yeah, the swap would mainly be to obviously counter the Mystic Flare, but typically one of your heroes is going to be locked down inside that Mystic Flare. So obviously you want to swap them out because they're still controlled in some way, and you of course are not, so you'd be able to move out of it immediately. But definitely a good strong counter. Razor, we already spoke about. Doom, there's nothing to be said about Doom. He just removes a hero from the game. How is that even fair? I hate this hero. And I wish he'd just get banned, but we do get to see him this game, so it's new. I like to see things get mixed up, especially after last game where we had the Monib Pudge, and even the game before that we had some really interesting heroes with Undying and all that getting picked. But just kind of waiting to see how this draft will progress right now. This 4th pick is actually going to be very, very interesting. I think it's really going to shake everything up, and there you go.
What's up with Nostradamus?
I swear
over
I
here?
didn't actually know that was going to happen.
Nostradamus.
There we go.
Call it in the chat. We have Nostradamus now casting with RaptorZ here as he calls out the biggest pick in the game, and it is a Pudge. Does change things up. I was about to go on a rant about how I love split push and Prophet, and when you're able to execute split push effectively, it's the best strategy in the game. But that's my opinion. But yeah, Pudge. Why not talk about Pudge? Because Pudge is going to be a very interesting decision. It synergizes with Skywrath Mage. You have the Arcane Seal, the Concussive Shot to set up hooks, obviously with Shadow Shaman too, but Vengeful Spirit can swap a Pudge or swap the person that's getting dismembered, and then stun Pudge, and it'll cancel the dismember, even though technically I think if you swap somebody while they're being dismembered, unless that was a bug that got fixed, the dismember continued. But very least she can stun him immediately afterwards, cancels that dismember, saves people who gets hooked. It's interesting you pick that into a Vengeful Spirit, is really what my
I believe
points
the
are.
dismember should continue, just like Bane Ultimate does.
Okay. Yeah,
Because
that would make sense.
Yeah, it's weird how it works like that. It's the same reason why
but it doesn't. I guess it doesn't with Lasso because of the snap
but
distance.
It's because you're when Bane goes to throw his ultimate, and sometimes that hero can be halfway across the map almost. Like the range just seems absolutely gigantic because once he's reached that cast point, it doesn't matter where their positioning is. He's casting it. I think it has to do with that, and the fact that you're swapping not the hero that's channeling, but the target that's getting channeled. So it's different than obviously if you go to swap an Enigma or something who's black holing, you're obviously interrupting that way. But yeah, it's the same way as if someone's getting dismembered or someone's getting Bane Ultimate, and you use a push stick.
Yeah, constantly applied stun.
You know what? As we finally see an Alchemist get picked, and I say finally, not that we were ever expecting an Alchemist to get picked, but I think this is one of the most underrated heroes. This hero is like really good, like really, really good. He's really good at zone controlling with his acid spray. You can't stand in that, especially if you're a weak support like a Skywrath Mage or a Shadow Shaman. You don't want to be standing in that. It also gives them another stun to interrupt Pudge. It gives them a stun that absolutely cripples Skywrath and Shadow Shaman if they get hit with it. It even does a lot of work on Furion, even if you hit him with it.
Pudge, low armor.
So, well, yeah, but yeah, Alchemist is just a terrific pick, not only just in this game, but in general. He's just a really, really good pick, and I wish he would get picked a lot more. And what the
Well,
heck? Now we're
this
seeing
honestly,
Meepo as well.
I was about to say this is kind of looking like a draft we would see out of Hot Hands, because we've actually seen them pick Prophet and Pudge, maybe not in the same game, and then the Meepo came, and I was like, well, that totally makes sense in my head. But
They've picked
back thought they picked Meepo
as well.
Like, yeah.
Unfortunately, not the same game.
Yeah,
because
but
Modem plays both the Pudge and the Meepo.
This is.
But,
I guess this is a really good way to apply Rat Dodo, and on top of that, it gives them a lot of mid-game presence. I think Meepo is one of those heroes that you generally think he's strong in like different portions of the game. Like, I guess there's a lot of differing thoughts in the competitive scene as to which part of the game Meepo's the strongest. A lot of people say he sucks weak. A lot of people say he's strong. Axe is a decent response here, but Meepo just gives free nets for Pudge hooks. Meepo can be around everywhere around the map to help out with ganks while farm, and it does give them a lot of pushing power. So I'm interested to see. I'm not trying to say that I like it more. I can see where the synergy is coming from. The question is, can they execute it? That being said, I will go ahead and attempt to introduce the team in the dire side, known as 7L. We have 4K playing the Pudge, assumed to be the middle lane. We have exclamation point at hashtag or pound sign at exclamation point picking up the support Shadow Shaman. We have ... picking up the Nature's Prophet. I'm sorry guys, this isn't me trying to make a joke. I'm just honestly trying to do this right now. We have TPOG on the Skywrath Mage, and of course 6K.ID on the Meepo. And I say of course because totally know who this guy is. He is going to get a ward up relatively early. However, it was Envision of Melisam, so we'll see if Melisam does Sentry Ward this. The ping goes out, and yep, Sentry Ward. Free D Ward for Melisam. Nice gold for him. He won't pick up the Grievel's Greed for that, but free gold.
Well, in case no one knows who Melisam is, because we haven't introduced Hot Hands hand warmers, I'm going to do that. So Melisam is playing the Alchemist this game. We have Drop, who actually wasn't in the games previous, but we have seen him in previous tournaments. He's their regular player, and he will be replacing Frugos, and that's Drop playing the Doom. We have Bergiuber, I'm still struggling with it too, apparently. Playing the Vengeful Spirit. We've got Cheech on the Razor, and we have Monib, who we've seen dominate once previously with the Axe in a melee versus melee matchup that was up against Bloodseeker, but he is on the Axe, and apparently he's disconnected completely from the game. He couldn't
a very
handle
bad
it
time too.
and choked under pressure. But
very bad time. God, I hate when that happens personally in mid, because it's like a block, honestly, with the way the current creep waves work. I guess not against melees. I guess it really doesn't matter if you're Axe. You're just going to run at them anyways. But yeah, generally speaking, that mid block dictates basically the first two waves of creeps, and then basically its skill from that point on, and the matchup dynamics.
Well, it does matter, because you obviously want some space to be able to run past the creeps and really
not be under tower.
Yeah, you don't want to be under tower when you're doing that. So so it's important that at least the ranged creep gets close enough to that ramp, even if he does fall behind. Of course, if you actually block completely even in the middle lane, it's already skewed a little bit towards the dire side. It's actually pretty close to the bottom of the ramp. So hopefully he'll be able to get his block, and we won't see the dire creep wave way up on top of the ramp. But that remains to be seen. But I'm really interested to see what they're going to do with these lanes, as you know, I'm talking about 7L as I say this, and they are kind of coming out as I would expect. Obviously, Skywrath is kind of hanging out down around this bottom rune. I don't expect him to stay around bottom. I don't know if he's going to be sticking around.
I think
mid.
he just
Maybe
came down
is.
here to ward this, because remember that first ward that happened over here, the D ward by Melisam. I think he came down here to get another ward up to the southern portion of the map to help see rotations onto their mid hero, because we are going to see Pudge middle. And to be fair, like I was just about to mention how I really like the roaming potential coming out of Hot Hands, with obviously the duration of the stun coming out of Alchemist, but also the damage is nice with the high damage nuke coming out of Vengeful Spirit. And not to mention later on, you get 2 points in Wave of Terror, -3 for 4 armor. For that Alch stun on a hero that already has 1 armor to start off with, barely gets 2 by 6 minutes into the game. So I think that's the logic, is they're like, alright, we need a ward down here, we need to be able to see these rotations and stop the gank from happening. Or
Yeah,
ganks
absolutely.
from happening.
I'm going to expand on that a little bit, but everyone can calm down. Modib got his block, and it's an incredible block. And look at this.
We'll even zoom in on it for him.
That was a 10 out of 10 block right there.
Would block
I
again.
feel like this guy has played this game before. But just talking about the wards, yeah, you typically want in any game you're going to see a lot of teams place their ward, which has rune vision, to the side that the enemy tri-lane is, to potentially spot out any rotations from the supports. And you see both teams have actually done that this game. As we actually, the Skywrath is actually going to hang out mid and help out this Pudge. I think that's just to get Pudge off the ground and a little bit of a lead in the first level.
Oh, well, we are going to see the concussive shot. Mona playing a little aggressively. To really...
Pudge needs levels, that's the problem, right? So Skywrath can't stick around there for too long. He's not going to be able to push Axe out of the lane, so there's not going to be an XP imbalance there. So he's got to, just help Pudge get a little bit of a lead, but then give him the experience. As you see, Sky's actually sticking around really high in the lane, potentially trying to give XP to the Pudge, but he actually is a little too close.
Well, and I wanted to ask you, he went concussive shot first. Generally speaking, if that was something that was thought about, as we do see a gank from Hot Hands coming into the middle lane, generally if you're going to stay there, Skywrath, you get Arcane Bolt first, and you spam it instead of getting concussive shot. So
true. However, if you get stuck at level 1 for a while on the Skywrath, and you're not going to be picking up level 2, the concussive actually works really, really well.
Well, we're going to actually see him get ganked in the middle lane as the stun does go onto him from VS. And now the Alchemist concoction and the hook from 4K. Excellently timed, saving his teammate. Clarity and Sal will run on him as he gets away. And normally we'd be saying Motive saving his teammate, but 4K, a great play from him.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
As soon as it happened, I was like, oh, Monib with another... Wait a second.
That's not Monib. But yeah, definitely great play from Pudge, and that's what you need to see. And honestly, now Monib and or the waste of the rotations from the supports, this dual lane is getting more for the side of the Dire. And if we go to the experience graph, oh, actually, I'm completely wrong. Forgive me, guys. But in theory, it should be giving more because they're spreading their experience more evenly. But that being said, Call in the middle lane. Monib is going to go man-to-man here with 4K as 4K drops down to 25 HP, but the first blood goes to T-Pog, as he does get the Arcane Bolt as well as the spam, and him being there secures that first blood. Meanwhile, there's going to be a wraparound onto the Prophet. They do get the stun. Magic Missile first. Now they're going to go ahead and channel up the concoction. The great tangoing from the Prophet is going to, yes, he does fog him, and now the Plasma Field is there as well. The question is, do they have any follow-up stun? I don't think the answer is yes, which means yes, he does get away. 200 HP now, and counting.
I love watching an offlaner get into trouble.
Oh, Monib gonna die again in the middle lane, and that's a bad way to start this game. Monib goes down twice. Once to the Skywrath mage, second time to the Pudge alone, now sitting at level 5 versus level 4, and I think you'd probably agree with me, or at least like have some thoughts on this, that in a melee versus melee, especially like a Pudge versus Axe, levels are so important, and if you get a level discrepancy, I feel like you're just gonna win as the other hero.
Oh, absolutely. Both these heroes actually really excel once they get a few levels under their belt, and especially in their ability to dominate the lane. And both are actually quite good in melee versus melee matchups. So I would actually probably give this lane slightly to Axe, but the way it's gone so far, obviously Monib's died twice on that Axe. I think Pudge is in a good place, and Skywrath is actually still hanging around mid. I guess there's no reason for him to go top, but...
We haven't spoken once yet about Meepo. He is catching up, or not catching up, getting very far ahead already in levels relative to other counterparts on the map, and that will continue to spiral out of control as he is going to start getting some camps or stacks, I imagine, soon. But
that's exactly what 7L wants.
Yeah.
Forget about Meepo for a little bit, you know? Let him all of a sudden, you know, split into 7 different Meepos or however
interesting
many it is.
decision here is I might have a second to talk on this.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, sorry. I was just questioning if the Axe was going to get gone on. But no, 3 points rot on Pudge. What do you think about this? Because I prefer Hook, like 10 times out of 10, no questions asked.
Alright.
Misskill, or do you think like there's logic there?
It could have been a misskill. I actually saw a little earlier the Pudge misskilled when he was doing stuff with the courier. he actually was messing around with the courier, and then he ended up rotting while he was on low health for no reason. And I wonder if maybe this was a misskill, or maybe he just feels that it's really good against the axe. I don't know.
Skips Dismember at level 6, so interesting decision there too.
You know what? I think you have to.
Okay.
If this was a misskill, I think you almost have to, because you need the levels on hook. Like this isn't Han where you have max range hook at level 1. Hook increases with its range as the level increases, so you need those levels on hook, because frankly, until it's level 3, it's not really that good at actually hooking someone in. Yeah, if you're kind of in a melee combat with them, you can get a hook off, and it kind of works in that sense, as we see something potentially happening top.
Yeah,
but,
as they are going to dive. Maybe they are actually going to dive,
well.
as they do get the stun onto Shadow Shaman. He's going to go ahead and go down in the middle lane. Monib is actually going to get the kill onto Pudge before he goes down to the Arcane Bolt following him. He is going to die. We'll go ahead and miss that, as I wanted to double check top. There is no more action, as it looked like everyone else was able to successfully TP, as Hot Hands does get a kill top and gets a kill middle.
That's actually interesting. Skywrath didn't get any XP for that kill.
Really?
Yeah, he didn't get any XP for that.
But he was right next to the Coaling. He was within 1,000 units of Coaling Blade, so maybe bug, maybe just slight like.
No, obviously Skywrath's Arcane Bolt was chasing.
Oh,
you're
saying
like over
okay,
here
I see
somewhere.
you're saying that one. Okay.
He didn't get XP for that? I thought you always get XP for that.
Maybe it's only specific global abilities such as Sunstrike.
Well, yeah,
Prophet's
because
Ult.
Zeus and Sunstrike
Yeah.
and all of them get that, but that's...
Even Spectre, I believe, you get the experience from kills with just Haunt. I'd have to double check on that. But yeah, so it is limited to specific global abilities. Maybe something worth noting on the dev forums, but that being said, the game does get a little bit of the lull in the action here, as we see Hot Hands starting to get a little bit of a gold advantage. Experience advantage is going in favor of 7L again. So we were noting their dual lane setup, plus the fact that they have a Meepo who has been just idly sitting by and drop. Might get initiated on, as we do see the shackles, but that's probably a bad decision, as Bergiuber and Melisam are nearby. Bergiuber looking like he wants to dive net, possibly thrown out. No, Earthbind, not thrown out. Meepo under tower, as the other heroes from Hot Hands will collect themselves back into Fog. And meanwhile, again, they have this Prophet jungling. Now they have Pudge and Meepo bottom. Actually, this is kind of creative. They just have the Pudge. Oh, Meepo on top of Pudge, and now whenever he hooks in, he's just going to sit there. Doesn't actually go with the Earthbind. 6k. Not paying attention here. A little bit of misplays. But he does go ahead and get the net eventually. They get the proof spam, and now 4k gets the kill. Will get the deny, it looks like. No, doesn't even need to. We'll go ahead and bottle up with the TP in from ... on the Prophet. They will clean up that kill. Yeah, very nice hook from 4k to go ahead and clean up that kill. 5-2. As the fan favorites right now. Hot Hands are looking like they're a little bit on the back burner, a little bit shaken, as this Pudge has just been doing a lot in the game, and he now rotated bottom, did more, and that's where Pudge becomes a terrifying pick against you when you're playing against it, right? Like, he's not just middle anymore. He's coming other places. He's ruining your carries progression. And in middle lane, he might just go straight onto Monib. He has that double damage. He's going to go ahead and Monib is going to go ahead and use the call. 4k doesn't have Dismember yet, just has gone 4 points hook, but that's enough to go ahead and get that kill. And Melisam throws out the stun, but in vain, as his friend Monib falls in the middle lane before any of that was possible. 4k.
He did hit level 8 now, so he does have Dismember. That rot must have been a misskill. There's no way.
But he's been working with it, so props to him.
He's made it work, so definitely props to him. As Skywrath has finished his mana boots, and that's really, really big. The courier was in a little bit of trouble there, but it should be fine now. As it flies away. One on bottom.
Yeah, he's going to go on to the Nature's Prophet. Doesn't have access to another call. Culling Blade, slightly too late. Don't know if he could have got it off and gotten the kill, but either way, does get away as the Prophet. Now 4k, his teammate in the middle lane with the Doom chasing drop, and team is nearby. Melisam also. Cheech and Bergiuber is the 4 that are here for them, as the concussive shot goes on to Doom. Now the Ancient Seal and Arcane Bolts. A little bit of damage. They're looking for 4k to go ahead and hook somebody back into this fight. He is looking to line one up, but doesn't quite see one that he wants. Chooses not to throw it, and he will wait. Now he throws one and gets one onto Bergiuber, and immediately bursted from the Skywrath Mage, throwing that Mystic Flare. However, maybe not needed, but definitely secured the kill there. Now this tower should fall, honestly. Even with the death of Berguber, I don't think that they should surrender the chance to push this tower. They don't. They secure it. Melisam gets the last hit. Concussive shot prevents any further aggression, and Monib is going to go ahead and take bottom tower, so Hot Hands not looking in the best place as far as the scoreboard, but they are doing a good job around the map, and now Monib wants to go ahead and man up on Meepo. This is quite an interesting decision. He might just be able to do it, and he does. Gets the slam dunk as Meepo goes down, and now Monib gets a ton of experience sitting at level 10, trying to get away. Sprout from Prophet does throw out the call, but it doesn't hit on either of them. Shackles will hold him back while the right clicks continue. But that call giving him a ton of armor, and now 4K might try to throw the blind hook. He doesn't in time as Monib is able to TP, but does throw it in the right spot. So worth noting, he has good intuition, just a little bit not listening to his intuition, I guess, because he found the right spot. And again, Hot Hands taking advantage of this action. Top tower falls. They get 2 towers and a kill. Great plays from them.
That was a really good setup. Monib pushing bottom, and they realized someone was going to have to respond to Monib, and by someone I mean at least more than one, or at least 2 heroes. It's got to be at least more than one hero that has to respond to stop Monib from pushing that tower. And of course, they put a whole bunch of resources bottom. They actually sent 3 heroes in total, and that just results in Hot Hands, just rotating 3 heroes top and taking a free tower there because it can't be defended. So really good use of each other and working as a team as they move around, force their enemy to respawn in different parts of the map, and then just outmaneuver them and take an objective somewhere else. It's just really good trading. Not even trading, but really good maneuverability.
A missed the bottom lane is they do get the kill onto Vengeful Spirit. Hook into Mystic Flare again, just doing so much damage. A great roaming combo, and something that I wanted to prompt your thought with is Meepo will be the one getting dive, the one I wanted to prompt a thought on. He goes bots first bots first on Meepo. Now we kind of mentioned before, like the Meepo can global teleport potentially with the never mind. Modem is going to interrupt me as he gets hooked in the middle lane. Does get his call off, however. There's the concussive shot as well. Arcane Bolt to follow. Burger is in the area though, stopping 4K as now Cheech TP's in as well. Does have access to 3 points in plasma field, but the hook from 4K gets Burger as he falls in. Now Monib in the middle lane looks like he wants to man up on the Rasta, and he does a great job doing it. Calculating that out, getting good spin luck, and does get that kill. Wards were used and now wasted. But yeah, so thoughts on the Meepo bots. I mean, it works, but what are your thoughts?
Now, I used to play a ton of Meepo in the past, and he used to be one of my most played heroes, but the game has changed quite a bit since then. This is way back in Dota 1, and I frankly don't know much about Meepo. Obviously, when I was playing...
Melisam in the jungle is going to get picked off. Sorry to cut you off, but that is a free kill for Pudge, as unfortunately this ward very effective for them.
Yeah, as I was playing back with Crane used to play a bunch of Meepo, so I know a little bit about Meepo and how he works with the team and stuff like that. But I've never seen this kind of boots first thing. I think it's about we think we're okay with just drawing the game out and not losing as many towers. And if we can draw the game out and not lose all our towers, then this is actually going to allow Meepo to get even further ahead. It's kind of a greedy pick. It's almost like a Midas for Meepo, is what that is. I don't know if it's the right pick this game. That'll tell. I think it's very, very greedy, and I typically don't like greedy plays. But yeah, we'll see how it pans out. He's he's already gotten his Ogre Axe or Ogre Club, so he's well on his way to his Egg Scepter. It looks like he's probably not going to pick up the Blink anytime soon.
Yeah,
maybe he can pick it up at all, but.
I really like how you put that, because you kind of leave the onus on the fact that he's not going to be providing any extra pressure with the bots. He can always be there for the fights, but that blink is what gives you the ability to just jump and go and throw all your Meepos in. And bottom tower will go down hook by 4K off the mark as T-Pog throws the Mystic Flare anyways. They just want to make sure they get those kills, maybe dealing with a little bit of lag, as they do have, of course, I would assume Southeastern Asian or SCA region, as that is much closer to the United States than any other Eastern Dota scene. So I assume they are from there, if anywhere, if not from the United States. But maybe a little bit of lag, maybe just a little bit of jumpiness, and Meepo, of course, can bots in the middle, and that looks like it's what you're going to do, as Monib does get the head, or the slam dunk, on to Rasta. Now Drop does get earthbinded up. Monib wants to continue the pursuit as Prophet TP's in with it, but the bots are out, but now the call is there to stop it, as the back Meepo is caught off by the Axe, and now he might be able to finish off this kill as they're chasing. Drop is moving in, doesn't have enough mana or cooldown for level death. I hear Melisam in the background channeling at the stun as Teapok throws on the silence onto Drop, and now they get it on to Pudge, who has the double damage, but he's getting sapped up, which is nullifying that. Monip will, however, fall, but Pudge will fall as another price as Cheech gets 192 damage from that, dealing a ton. Gonna get this kill on the Prophet. That's a double kill for Cheech, and now he's trapped in the middle of the wards, but he doesn't care. He's just gonna stand and fight, gets the triple kill, and he's gonna continue to go. You can't stop this guy. He just should turn around and right click, but he's not gonna do it. Now he is. He does get the ultra kill. The hook comes out from 4K with the buyback to go ahead and clean up that kill. Great job by him, but now his teammate, the Skywrath Mage, will fall in the background. 4K moving up, gets stunned by the VS, but there is not much follow-up. He is gonna go ahead and continue on this pursuit, wanting more kills because he bought back, maybe lining up something on the Doom. Decides not to, and we'll go ahead and maybe skulk around looking for another kill here. Drop is a little bit far up. Maybe he wants to go for it, but he hooks his own creep. So unfortunate there. Not going to get anything else out of that, but what a fight, and what a man Cheech is on that Razor.
Yeah, Cheech has obviously been watching.
Bottom lane, we do see Prophet taking a ton of damage from that call, getting on 4 creeps plus his own. And now Monib, sprouted up by that very same hero, does have that level 2 Battle Hunger on him. The call misses slightly, and now the TP out, and unfortunately Monib, assuming that he would have hit that call, unfortunately he was slightly off, and if he would have continued into the trees, would have been able to nab that kill. Prophet gets away. But yeah, go ahead, Niz, you can go ahead.
What I was going to say is that Cheech has obviously been watching some of our VODs on YouTube, and he's gotten a little sick of us talking all about this Monib character, and he's showing that he's also one of the manly players on this team, stepping up with the Razor, getting a triple kill there. Is even my cat's got something to say about it. But yeah, we see a smoke actually coming out of 7L on the
and they are going to potentially catch out Monib here. They do get the Dismember as well as the Mystic Flare, and that will be enough to eviscerate him as he falls. 43-second respawn on him. And Niz is probably taking care of his cat, as I think I heard the mic get muted. Melisam TPing into the bottom tower. Wants to attempt the defense here. Has a medallion as well as level 7. 3 or 4 points into that acid spray, and you can already see the zoning effect that Niz was talking about in the draft. Very effective at stalling these pushes. However, there's just not enough HP on this tower for them to be able to stall this push long enough for it to matter. Tower does fall, and now the blink forward by 4K onto Cheech, taking a ton of damage from that Dismember and Rot. Will he follow up with the hook? Looks like he will. They already have the static link, but he's going to fall before he gets enough damage. The stun from Alchemist hits on 2. Dropping low is the Skywrath Mage, but that Sprout, a Vacuum Sprout coming out of the Nature's Prophet, stalls up both Drop and Melisam, allowing their escape. Free kill, free tower, nothing to lose, and they're going to go ahead and back off. And of course, meanwhile, when you have a Rasta on your team, what else should he be doing besides winning you team fights? He's going to be winning you split push, getting that free tower, dropping that ward. So 2 towers, 1 kill, no answer back from Hot Hands.
Yeah, someone report this guy, ... is apparently playing Darkseer as well as the Fury in this game. That was ridiculous. That Sprout managed to get 2 heroes there and just kind of sucked them into the center of it just by the placement of the trees. That was really good. But you saw, it was a very, very brief smoke, and they were able just to pick off Monib with it at the bottom lane, but that allowed them to push forward, get the tier 1. And then, Cheech got a little ambitious. He got a little far out. Pudge blinked in, said, you know what, I'm just going to dismember you. We're going to clean up the kill on Cheech, and that's going to give us even more space, and now they're sitting with a free Roshan here. And most likely this will go on Meepo.
I would definitely agree with that, as Ags is going to be picked up by him just a second ago.
Oh,
in addition to that, and yeah, they are going to go ahead and get this. Melisam is already in. He's channeling that stun. Does get the Meepo that's teleporting out. Now the static link onto the other Meepo, poofing away. The Mystic Flare is there, cleaning up 1 hero, but it's not enough as the Aegis does pop, and now Melisam, low on health, wants to turn around. 4K is invis in the background, and now look at that blink call, getting 4 heroes with the stun, cleaning up a total of 3, as Hot Hands decides to take the fight in Roshan, and using the strengths of their team to execute that fight really well.
They actually got 4 heroes. They got the Rasta as well. Rasta actually bought back, as you were saying, 3. So Rasta also died there, and of course they got the Aegis and lost that, and then Meepo died as well. So basically they had 5 deaths in total, 4 heroes lost. But yeah, that was a huge
and off to the side,
swing.
Monip going hunting. Does look for the Rasta, misses, and of course we do know 4K is invis. They don't know this though, so 4K could get a good hook here. As honestly, the tension is definitely high here, as Hot Hands is going to move into the bottom lane. Maybe they're going to change their mind. No, actually it's just going to be Prophet and Meepo deciding to split push. So they will go ahead and sacrifice this tower. And Niz, you can go ahead and finish your thoughts on that T5. Actually, sorry, you can't finish your thoughts. Monib wants to go in, pops the blade mail as well as the call, gets on the Prophet, will be able to get the Culling Blade and cleans him up, and now Meepo actually going to turn around and kill Monib as he was able to get the quadruple poof, and in the bottom lane they've already lost the Doom. Cheech getting concussive shot up. Now the Arcane Bolt to follow. Melisam going to stun himself as they're attempting to retreat here, but there's not enough heroes. But maybe with Pudge, that's all you need, as he does have access to that Blink Hook. Chooses, though, not to go forward with that. And Niz, you have a lot to catch up on.
Yeah, that was crazy. I actually thought that that Roche was going to be completely free, and they weren't even going to contest it. But they came in. They came in a little late, but it was fine. Everyone was trapped in. They were able to cancel the TPs. Furion actually decided to stick around and fight it out, as he should, to help his team. And when he decided, nope, this is bad, I need to get out, he went to TP, and he died right as his TP was finishing. So it was really unfortunate for the 7L team. That was a huge swing in favor of
the jungle is going to get the blink call onto Meepo. Might be able to finish up this kill as he does have the blade mail active. However, the great timing on that Earthbind is enough to get him away. Now Monib is actually maybe caught out in the wrong place. Haste, however, going to make that concussive shot useless. He will escape relatively unscathed.
Then, of course, immediately after that, Monib doing a good job of teleporting to the tower at top to defend it before they got to the tower, so his TP was out of vision. He just jumped in, cleaned up that Prophet like it was nobody's business, and unfortunately he did die to the Meepo, which, you know, maybe questions whether or not he should have jumped in the first place. But he did it, and he got the kill and traded his life for it, but it stopped them from pushing the tower. They were not able to deal any damage to this tier 1. And it just once again kept that tower up. The top towers, for especially the Radiant side, are actually considered free towers and almost useless towers. They're very rarely defended in full force, at least. So the fact that they still have these 2 towers up is actually a lot of gold that's still on the map available to 7L. But you know, Hot Hands is showing that they're not just going to give it to you this game. So that's some gold that. You know, they could have in their favor, but they don't right now, and Hot Hands is, you know, ahead because of it.
Yep, they're up at a 3-tower advantage, and the teleport in from Meepo is going to get immediately cancelled, as I failed to say the word teleport there. Although the Mystic Flare dealing quite a bit of damage to Monib, he will get cleaned up from the Dismember. Arcane Bolt, however, from Skywrath does get that kill. Can 4K land up the hook? No, there is no time, as he, Doom, drop, does teleport away, gets out of there unscathed. We'll get back to the base, and you know, more to your point, the tower advantage, not only in gold, but also map control. And 7L, they're a team that requires map control right now, and that's something that Hot Hands is really exploiting. They have supports farming the jungle. They're finally going to sacrifice this tower, it looks like, because there's too much force coming out of 7L in this push to make it worth defending. But the amount of time and farm and space they bought for their other heroes is very important.
Well, obviously, you know, I spoke about these towers are largely not defended in full force, and obviously Monib's dead here, so they're not going to defend.
Oh, no, they are. They're going to TP in 2 heroes. Wards do go down. Drop is there. Melisam is there. However, Pudge is in the fog.
Really big.
Oh no, the hook onto Melisam. He does get off the ultimate, however, it's worth noting, but he might just fall anyways inside of it. He does Force Staff out around the edge. Great play from him, Burgie Burr, not even needing to use the swap yet. They will go ahead and clean up these wards. The stun comes out onto Pudge. They still have access to that swap again, and it gets off, followed up by the Alchemist's unstable concoction. They will net that kill. Cheech leading the charge, isolating the Pudge in the background, and now Region sniped up by Shadow Shaman. But Hot Hands can take this opportunity and pressure the map if they want to, but it looks like Modem might actually just go ahead and try to go for a kill here, as there are multiple heroes in this middle lane. He blinks forward and calls on to the Rasta, gets the blade mail as well, and will get the cleanup. No! The Hex from Rasta at the last second, however, he does get that Battle Hunger, and unless Rasta throws out Nether Shock, he does, lives at 20 HP. Pudge blinks forward, does get the other Battle Cry, or sorry, the Battle Hunger. That will clean him up. Teleport away from Meepo, or poof away from Meepo is successful as he moves all of his Meepos into the bottom lane, but Hot Hand says, fine, you're going to move them all into the middle lane. We're going to push middle. But again, Meepo again bots any of the one Meepos, and poof to the other one, or poof to that one.
Real quickly about that top lane push. Obviously, I said that Hot Hands wasn't going to defend it in full force. They weren't going to really engage. They actually did a really good job knowing that Monib wasn't up, that they were going to be at a disadvantage. Obviously, the roster wards were already down on the
blink
tower.
forward by Monim. Sorry to cut you off, but T-Pog is probably going to die here as they do get the slam dunk. Buyback immediately from him as Rasta's 2 seconds away. The Eye of the Storm with the Aghanisms on Cheech doing a lot of damage, but the swap onto Pudge plus the Doom going to immediately damage him, and obviously that Mystic Flare being tanked between multiple heroes dealing a decent amount of damage to Burgyuber, but not too much. The Skywrath Mage will fall in the background to Melisam, who does have access to the ultimate, but he is orchided up, so will be cleaned up in the background, but they lose the melee racks. 7L goes down 1 racks in this game already, but the Dismember from 4K canceling Cheech's TP. However, he does dodge that hook. Cheech on the run from 4 heroes here is 4K doesn't even, 6K ID doesn't have a blink yet on that Meepo, but they do get the Sprout with the teleport forward from Prophet. He is sapping a lot of damage though, pops that BKB, looks like he just wants to try to turn this, might be able to focus down the Meepo. Does he have Plasma Field? No. Meepo goes ahead and teleports away, so 3 for Rax. But honestly, against a team like this, Rax is very important because it applies constant pressure, and you need that to give you space against like a Pudge and stuff like that. Prophet. Global Meepo teleporting.
So I've got a lot to catch up on. As I was talking about the top lane, they did a really good job of positioning themselves around the team fight, knowing that they didn't have motive and that they were going to be at a disadvantage if they really engaged on the fight. So they played smart. They played the objective, and they played around the tower. They didn't commit. They didn't push themselves up way too far. They made it difficult for 7L to really put themselves in a good position to take the tower. And as time went on, 7L eventually bailed out of it, and they were able to pick off Pudge because he was kind of hanging around in the background, just a little too slow to back with the rest of his team. So they ended up with a kill and keeping their tower. Really, really good. And then, of course, with that mid, once again, they did a good job, once again, playing the objective. They got the racks. Unfortunately, maybe they stayed a little too long and ended up losing 3 heroes. 4K did a good job of rotating behind them in the team fight, picking off the Vengeful Spirit, and they were able to keep going and eventually get another kill on the Razor. But meanwhile, the creeps actually pushed that top tower, so they ended up losing it in the long run. But it was a good series of events for the players of Hot Hands. Just not giving stuff away, as they've shown all game long. They're not just going to give away free gold in the form of towers on this map.
Yeah, well, and to kind of bring it back to the present a little bit, as you have caught up on all of the analysis, you see it push. You've caught up. You're good. It's all good. But Meepo picks up a Reaver instead of purchasing a Blink. Did have enough money for it for a while. Has 5K. He will immediately poof all his Meepos bottom. Again, though, he can bots any one of them top, so it's not really that big of an impact. But Hot Hands, looking to take the advantage they've accrued over these last few fights and continue to chunk away towers. Again, that middle lane is going to be constantly pressured up. And it looks like 7L is just going to resign to just defending the high ground. They know they can't defend this T2, and if they lose the fight here, they're going to lose the game. So 4K moves up, throws out a hook, does get on to Cheech, but that's not the target he wants. Swap back by Burger will clean up this Pudge as the Mystic Flare comes down, dealing quite a bit of damage, but his teammate force-staffing him out. Alchemist now going to pursue. Actually, his own is force-staff, as he will force-staff himself out to safety. TP's back as here comes the Meepo. Here comes the concussive shot onto Cheech. The Sprout is there, but it's not on any heroes. A great ward trap from Rasta, but the force-staff from, looks like Burger will save his teammate as Cheech backs up, and now looks like stun channeling from Alchemist. He is just going to go ahead and resign to stunning himself, as they actually don't get much out of that fight. Hot Hands, that is. They do get the kill on Meepo and the kill on Pudge, but they were stopped. The question, I guess, becomes for you, Niz, do you think 7L is looking for a later game? Do you think they can win a later game? Or was that just Hot Hands winning that because they got 2 kills?
That's difficult. I think that all comes down to the Meepo. I don't think they want to go too late. But, I mentioned a little bit about how Pudge got picked off retreating from an objective, and Pudge tried to do the same thing to them there and ended up jumping in at the wrong time, hooking someone, and then they just turned around and killed him. So that was unfortunate. While that was happening, Meepo was actually pushing bottom by himself, and Doom and will drop on the Doom, and Monib on the Axe actually responded to that and picked up the kill on him. So the Meepo death was actually all the way at the bottom lane.
Okay, so that's
right at the tier 3.
Thought I missed it.
Yeah, but so
I'm not crazy.
I mean, I think maybe Pudge 4K on the Pudge was was doing it maybe to cancel TPs or just trying to pick someone off who was retreating, but he did it at the wrong time. They just turned around and killed him.
Motive laying in the wait, wants to go for the blink call here. He could, he does. He gets one of the Meepos in the back, immediately activates that Blade Mail, plus the Dagon he picked up. Really haven't mentioned that. There's the Wave of Terror as well as the Doom, so that Meepo isn't going anywhere, and Shiva's nicking him in the back will prevent him from getting away. The rest of the Meepos are trying to fight it out, but this Meepo's going to die, and now all of them are going to die. The Monib might... No, can't. He's gone. Brain reacting slow. Sorry, guys. As the Rost, I believe that was, does TP away safely. And now, at the death of the Meepo, Hot Hands is going to go ahead and group up and go for the second lane of Rax. And honestly, 2 lanes of Rax is kind of like in Dota. I wish I had like more of a thought out explanation for this for you guys, but maybe Niz can help me. 2 Rax is like kind of a magical threshold where almost every single lineup except for Hyper Carry loses.
Well, absolutely, because you have to...
Yeah. Go ahead.
You have to do some kind of housekeeping, essentially, of the map and keeping lanes pushed. And when you have 2 sets of racks down, that means you're devoting a lot of your time to doing that housekeeping, keeping the lanes pushed, keeping them, you know, heading the other way down the lane. And unfortunately, when you're doing that, it really ties up a lot of time it takes, or sorry, it ties up a lot of the time that you have available to you to do other things on the map, make other things happen, to really make, you know, put your stamp on the game and start winning the game for your team. So you're kind of tied up in doing all these other things, and you just don't have the time to do those other things that you need to win the game and find those advantages. So that's why the 2 racks down is such a magical threshold, as you referred to it as.
Magic amount, magical threshold. We'll leave it to somebody to eventually coin that term for what it is. But that while you were speaking on that, Niz, and definitely a great insight. I completely agree with you, and helped me thinking that thought out. We did see the smoke up from Hot Hands, however, great deductive logic coming out of 7L as a team, aware that they were in that smoke, potentially in their jungle, because of them being nowhere else on the map. Prophet had TP'd into middle lane, summoned Treants, and we even see now multiple Meepos into the bottom lane, as well as the Prophet to apply split pressure. We finally see Cheech grouping back up with his team, so now Hot Hands has a full 5 here, ready to push. Question is, will they be able to take the second lane of Rax? Because that will decide most of this game. Concussive Shot goes out onto Drop as the Fortify comes out. Net hits on Drop as well as multiple creeps. Now they're going to throw down the Mystic Flare, but Drop is able to get out of it, not taking too much damage at half HP. Still has the Scorched Earth running, and the T3 is down. Hook is off the mark as 4K blinks back. Now Rax taking a ton of damage down to 500 HP. Net will fall out. Doom does come out though onto 4K, preventing the dismember, and Rasta is dropping low. Wards are down, however, is dealing a decent amount of damage, but Rasta and Pudge are down. 2 for 7L are on the sidelines as their top Rax is falling. There's nothing they can do about it. Prophet does TPN to try to help. Drop getting low, but he does have that Aegis, so it's not that big of a death. Melisam does dive to zone them back, and him and Drop are going to be the only ones left in the dire base. But even if 7L get these kills, they did lose the top Rax, and Drop going to continue to fight it out as he pops that Shiva's not wanting to give up now. Meepo dropping low, will not die in the end, however. But again, 4 Rax now down for 7L as the middle lane drops as well.
You know, that move actually, you know, we had Meepo and Furion sticking around bottom for such a long time. And it was almost like 7L didn't respect the fact that they were losing their second set of racks there. If it was just their first set of racks, maybe that play could have had some justification. But in this situation, it's your second set of racks, and we coined it as the magical whatever. I'm going to have to go back and look at the VOD. Magical threshold. But it's almost like they didn't respect the fact that that was their second set of racks. And they had Meepo and Furion bottom, and they were pushing. And that Monib actually did a good job of going back and defending. He jumped in, he culled. Chances were he was going to die, and he did die. But he knew he had buyback on the back of that. He was going to be able to buy back, come back, and still defend bottom, and make sure that they didn't lose tier 3. Or, well, racks, or even the tier 3 tower, right? So it ended up being a useless trade. Like, you ended up losing
600 HP on a T3, yeah.
Yeah, you lost your second set of racks, you did a little bit of damage to the tier 3, and you forced a Monib buyback. Who cares, right? Like, Monib's perfectly fine with throwing away that gold at this point in the game. He's got his core. That's all. It's just going to be an extra level on his Dagon, that gold, really.
No,
so
yeah.
he's fine with sacrificing himself and that gold to protect his racks. And now Hot Hands is sitting real pretty with 4 racks down now.
Agreed. Meepo, though, caught between multiple members of Hot Hands, as he is going to try to take the fight here. BKB popped by Cheech, and he's just going to be able to turn this around as the stun comes out from Vengeful Spirit. Now the Howl, as well as the swap to prevent that. Poof out, Meepo goes down, and that might be the kill that allows Hot Hands to go ahead and go high ground here. But the other thing I wanted to, if I can recall my thought here, because I kind of lost it. But oh yeah, one thing I wanted to kind of point out is that, you know, the one thing that, I guess I could say one thing a million times, but Hot Hands recognizes that, you know, it's obvious. Every caster has said it. You've heard it whenever watching Dota. It's a game of objectives. It's a game of getting the Ancient. Oh, in top lane, we're going to see Monib just go ahead and clean house with the Prophet, which will definitely prompt this bottom push from Hot Hands. But again, it's a game of objectives. It's defense of the Ancient. You have to defend your Ancient. So life, gold, kills, those things, yes, they matter in certain aspects, but throwing away your heroes to gain critical structures, always worth it if you can get the guaranteed kill on it. But Hot Hands looking to go ahead and siege the high ground here as they have 3 heroes up onto the high ground. Swap onto Skywrath Mage as they get the stun, the double stun, that is the concussive shot, or concussive, or actually BKB's pop. 4K going to be turning around. TP out from Drop. There is no Dismember online, so they will actually be able to defend this as Drop does TP out. There won't be too much of a turnaround as Burger Uber is attempting to run away. Does have that Blink Dagger. Is able to blink off to the south as Melistom runs away. So a good defense there, and something they needed. Maybe they could just defend on 3 sets or 2, well, 1 set of racks here as 4K moves forward, possibly in the wrong spot here. Again, how do these Pudges do this today? Just inserting themselves, but no. He's been seen taking too much damage, will immediately fall. Prophet does blink backwards. However, the Pursuit is already there. Will TP away, so Pursuit, no chance of catching him. Meepo, middle lane. Not at too much of a risk, I think, but now they're just going to continue back onto the siege for the bottom racks. And go 3 racks up, and, you know, unless you have Medusa... Oh, top lane, sorry, Monib going to be getting a kill that I might have missed, or maybe Monib might be the one getting killed. No, he does get killed as the slam dunk is not quite enough, not hitting that HP threshold. He does not have an Aghanims. He has a Dagon. That's why you don't buy Dagons in games, guys. Unless you're going to get a level 1 Dagon, then it might be okay. But bottom tower, it doesn't matter, as the AC and Ag's ult is just wrecking house. Bottom racks will fall, as the only one left is ranged racks, and the... Wow, swap into Rosas. He dies before I can even say anything about it. Skywrath Mage gonna die just as quickly, and Prophet. And with 4 down, now only 3, we will probably see the GG coming out of 7L as their base is being absolutely overrun by Hot Hands members. The Meepo's trying to kill Drop as he does poof in all his Meepos, but the Doom's about to be online. It will be used soon onto something as the Pudge does get stunned up during that Dismember. And yes, it's on the Meepo that's running away low health. He will fall. 4K popping that BKB, trying to get out, but there's too much physical damage. The Meepo TPing in, trying to defend the last remnants of his base, but Cheech says, no, I'm going to pop a BKB. I'm going to turn on you. Run away with your Meepo, that's fine. I'll just focus the other one. As Cheech and squad goes ahead and takes 3 sets of racks, T4s, and looks like to be the Ancient and the game as they move on to round 4.
So just one thing, I hesitate to call it this, but picking Meepo is almost a gimmick. A bit gimmick strat, right? You pick it because you feel really comfortable with it. The hero is strong in its own right, but you're almost trying to surprise your opponent by it and hoping that they don't know exactly how to react and deal with the Meepo. But of course, we know that Hot Hands and Monib plays Meepo a lot, so they know exactly how to move around the map and deal with it, and they did a really good job of that this game, and just kind of not letting Meepo get out of control. Meepo finished 6, 9, and 7. He didn't have the impact on the game that we've seen in the past. Yeah, we've seen Hot Hands and Monib's Meepo lose before, but their experience playing with the hero allowed them to play against the hero really well, and I think that was one of the biggest things in this game. Yeah, there were some trades that went favorably one way or another, but you know, we saw at the start, Axe didn't get off to a good start. The Pudge had a really good start, but in the end, it wasn't enough.
Well, I couldn't agree more, Niz. As this game does go to Hot Hands, like we said, they will be moving into, let me confirm, but it should be round 4. Yes, it is round 4. We will be taking, of course, a short break here, guys, to get ourselves a drink, some rest on our lungs and our vocal cords for you guys. and then we'll be bringing you guys the next game. It might be Hot Hands, it might be someone else. We will let you know both in the title as well as the waiting screen. If you guys are enjoying this, please follow my Twitch so you guys can get updated when we go live about these tournaments. And if you enjoy watching these casts or enjoy watching this tournament, you can check out my YouTube/DodoRaptors, where all the VODs are uploaded. And of course, follow Niz at Nizcast, because he's the one who tweets and updates you guys about these games. He's an awesome guy, and you should definitely follow him. But with that, guys, we'll be taking our break, and we will see you in the next 5 or hopefully less minutes.